as a younger lawyer, how do you stand up for yourself when work is asking too much of you? Any strategies? I think we've sort of mentioned a few of these.
So I would say build your support network within the organisation. Take the time to find that confidant, one or more, and be able to feel comfortable in sharing your experience with someone. And I say that this is incredibly important because you're going to want to have a sounding board to test, some speaking points with them later on if it gets to a stage where you do need to speak to your manager about an issue. So I think that's probably number one, is to actually find your support network within the organisation. And number two is when you do get to a place where you feel comfortable enough and confident to be able to have that conversation with your manager, is to think about, we'll clearly be able to articulate the issue at hand, but also come up with ideas of what would work for you. Because often at times, someone might actually come up with a solution and you'll just go along with it because you're a junior lawyer, and often junior lawyers have a tendency to be people-pleasing tendencies. And so they might just go along with it and just say, yep, okay, that sounds good. But if you actually come up together with a plan with your manager that works for you and meets your needs, great, awesome. But then continue that conversation later on. If it's not working for you 2 to 3 months later on, feel empowered enough to have that conversation again. That's probably what I would suggest. Mm-hmm. And I think the last point I would say too is I think it's really important to know what your core values are at the end of the day, and to be able to work in a way that doesn't do those values disservice. So if you do value the time and space to be able to, to go and exercise or to have that work-life balance, you need to stick with it. And if the organisation that you're in is not on the same page as you in terms of being able to give you what it is that you need to feel supported, then don't be afraid to look elsewhere. And it's not to encourage all the people on this call to now go off and quit your job, but I think really have a sense of just who it is that you are and what you stand for and what your core values are, because often at times I think we overlook that piece, and that's really, really important as you're going through your career, and just making sure that you are honouring yourself in terms of what your needs are and how, what makes you happy overall. So that's probably what I would say to that question.
Great. I think maybe just to follow up on the one point about the confidant piece, you spoke about having that within your organisation. In medical research, there is an organization for women in medical research where you get paired up with a mentor that's actually outside your organization and that's outside even your specific field of research. And it's a fantastic program for junior researchers because you all of a sudden are face-to-face with someone who is willing to mentor you, who has zero vested interest. And so to have that soundboard, and I don't know if there are similar initiatives in the legal space, but I derived immense value from having someone outside of it all to be able to bounce these issues, to bounce these ideas, problems off. I thought that was really, really helpful.
Yeah, and look, by all means, I would also encourage that, and certainly that within the legal profession itself, there are groups where you can, in fact, be paired up with mentors outside of the organisation. I wouldn't limit ourselves to just finding a confidant within the firm, within the organisation. But that's a good point.